August 9th, my last day of summer camp. Number one, I congratulate Jason to win the John Locke essay competition, and he has been shortlisted to visit London. He may or may not want to go, but I gave him a congratulation, even though he's totally underprepared this year, right? Yeah. We spent so little time to do this one. We only use less than a month. What's your topic anyway at that time?
It was the why are high schools run by the federal government while private businesses control the food?
That's right. Why we research food industry and education industry. And my students have a lot of things to talk about this topic even before we participate in the essay. So congratulations. So next year, whenever the essay topic released, we immediately do comprehensive research. Yeah, if you can do all these theological, economical, philosophical topic, that's worth 1 year of your self-independent study. Okay, you are doing your independent study. I'm going to come here for help. But thank you for parents who gave this wonderful kids who work with me since elementary school. And during the summer camp, we go through a lot of AP class, AP US history, AP European history, hopefully next year, AP art history, right? And AP world history. And when we study AP US history, we stumble upon this wonderful book, Charlie Wilson's War. And he's going to talk about Julie Roberts, Tom Hanks, and all these cool stuff. Now the floor is Jason's. We may do section number 1, section number 2, section number 3. We have so many to talk about. Floor is yours, Jason.
So this is Charlie Wilson's War. The full name is Charlie Wilson's War, the extraordinary story of the largest covert operation in history. Charlie Wilson's War is a 2003 book by George Crile III. Upon publication, the book received praise from the New York Times, making it onto the bestseller list. The book was also placed on the Washington Post and Los Angeles Times bestseller list. It details the U.S. Representative Charlie Wilson's role in providing assistance to the Afghan Mujahideen, basically the Afghan resistance jihad movement during the Soviet-Afghan War. The book depicts the Texas Congressman role in facilitating the CIA-led Operation Cyclone, a covert mission within Afghanistan. Wilson solicited the aid of a CIA officer, Gust Avrakotos, a member of a small team at the agency assigned to the Afghanistan portfolio, as well as the then CIA weapons specialist Mike Vickers. The operation would become known as one of the largest military operations ever undertaken by the CIA, spanning 13 years and running into the hundreds of millions of dollars. The book is based on a series of interviews conducted by American journalist George Crile III, a producer for 60 Minutes. The book received very positively in post-9/11 America, as the book presented the public with undisclosed information about the United States dealing with the Afghan Mujahideen, which would evolve into some of the terrorist group well known during the War on Terror. Crile's book also detailed the significant events that occurred over the course of 13 years, how Charlie Wilson was able to run a covert war with very little insight. It was adapted into the 2007 Mike Nichols film Charlie Wilson's War, in which Wilson was portrayed by Tom Hanks. The film went on to receive multiple Golden Globe Award nominations. Synopsis. The book contains 33 chapters and an epilogue, spanning Representative Charlie Wilson's life from his early political career to the end of the Soviet-Afghan War. The book is based on a series of interviews Crile conducted with Congressman Wilson, as said before. Crile also used the experience of 14 years of reporting on Afghanistan and the Middle East for 60 Minutes. The critical revelation that the book exposes is that the CIA Covert Operation Cyclone, a program that was created due to the actions of Mr. Wilson. The book focuses on Texas Congressman Charlie Wilson during the 70s, 80s, 90s, as said before. It follows the role as the core agents that his role as the core agents that secured and supplied funds to the Afghan Mujahideen during Operation Cyclone. His motivation to accomplish this goal originated from a U.S. government appointment within Pakistan. On the trip, Congressman Wilson visited multiple refugee camps on the border of Afghanistan and Pakistan. It is here where he heard stories of violence that was inflicted on the refugees by the Soviet troops. The camp is also where he learned that the rebels could not possibly win without assistance due to the armaments they had at their disposal. Congressman Wilson then decided to assist the rebels with enough military aid to defeat the USSR and the Afghan Soviet War. Wilson accomplished this through his position on the House Appropriation Committee. They're the guys that decide where the money goes, where all the federal dollars go. The congressman secured hundreds of millions of dollars through this posting, which he gave to the US CIA. The mechanism within the House Appropriation Committee allowed Charlie Wilson to hide the amount of money and where the money was being directed towards, creating a complete sense of anonymity. This meant that the broader government and the public did not realize what he was doing. The congressman then enlisted the help of CIA Regional Head Director Gust Avrakotos to assist with the transportation of the funds and weapons to Afghan rebels. Avrakotos was on the fringe within the CIA. He's not a traditional spy, being from a working class background, and the only notable relationship outside the CIA was with the congressman. The also introduces Joanne Herring, a Texas socialite, a religious zealot, and a fervent anti-communist. She became romantically involved with Mr. Wilson. Both Wilson and Herring were close at the time to Pakistan President Mohammed Zak. She assisted the congressman with his personal relationship with the president. Wilson used his relationship with President Zak to help assist with the smuggling of the weapons to the rebels. Zak was a critical part of the operation as he allowed an avenue into Afghanistan. The men conducted this operation without the public or the oversight from the U.S. government and had no idea where the money was coming from, due to its covert nature. The book reveals that the CIA not only provided money or weapons, but specialized training in urban warfare to the rebels. During this period, the public supported these freedom fighters, aligned with the cultural values of the U.S. during this period. It also arrived at the reason for the distrust and eventual violence between Islamic extremists and the United States government, that being defunding of the aid towards these groups. The book concludes with all the support provided by the U.S. States government that allowed the rebels to defeat the Red Army in Afghanistan, contrasted with the lack of money towards the rebuilding of the nation. The relevant history that the book follows is the United States CIA covert operation program, Operation Cyclone. Again, the operation's goal was to deliver armed funds and training to the Afghan Mujahideen within Afghanistan. The CIA provided the support to allow the rebels to defeat the new People's Democratic Party of Afghanistan, which was backed by the U.S. in the Soviet-Afghan War. The time of the operation was from 1979 to 1992. The conflict added the proxy war between the United States and the Soviet Union. CIA funding an insurgency against communism within the Middle East. The key individuals in the formation and application of Operation Cyclone were the Texas Congressman Charlie Wilson and CIA operator Gust Avrakotos. Both men enabled Operation Cyclone to become one of the most capital-intensive programs ever taken by the CIA. The prelude to Operation Cyclone, the book that this is based on, was caused by the Saudi Revolution in 1978. This revolution saw Afghanistan undergo a coup d'etat in 1978, which saw the transfer of power from Mohammed Daoud Khan, the leader of the Republic of Afghanistan, to the People's Democratic Party of Afghanistan, led by Nur Mohammad Taraki. Under the control of the PDPA, the state aligned itself with the Soviet Union. These events, the during the previous government and the alignment with the Soviet Union caused the CIA to show interest in Afghanistan. Operation Cyclone was then created to combat the new state of the DRA. Its creation was directly linked to Representative Charlie Wilson, as he alone secured funds, then acquired the assistance of CIA agent Gust Avrakotos. Mr. Avrakotos was a crucial player in the implementation of the program. Charlie Wilson was inspired to action thanks to the CIA in action in combating the USSR within Afghanistan, plus the violence caused by the new state towards civilians. The operation aimed to allow the Afghan freedom fighters, just the Mujahideen, to defeat the communists within Afghanistan. This aligned firmly with United States foreign policy, freedom of democracy, and anti-communism rhetoric. Important events of the conflict, Charlie Wilson's constant support for the war without the Congress help, the operation would have never reached its goals. The Congressman managed to increase funding for the Operation Cyclone over the decade. Another key proponent was Pakistani President Muhammad Zai. The president allowed the guns and money to gain access to Afghanistan and into the hand of the freedom fighter. This was successful due to Congressman Wilson's special relationship with the president. Mr. Wilson also acquired the most up-to-date arms for the rebels, notably including the Stinger missile to combat against the field Mi-24 Hind helicopters. Anti-air arms turned the tide of the conflict because until these weapons, the Afghan Mujahideen couldn't fight against those Mi-24s. The conclusion of Operation Cyclone led to the criticism of the CIA, the key being the funding to the Afghan Mujahideen that was splintered into modern-day terrorist organizations such as Al-Qaeda and the Taliban. The weapons, funds, and training used during that war allowed the groups to conduct terrorism across the Middle East and worldwide. From a CIA standpoint, Operation Cyclone accomplished the goal. With vast sums of money, the Afghan Mujahideen would defeat the Soviet Union-backed Democratic Republic of Afghanistan. The end of the conflict saw the complete withdrawal for all support for the Afghan Mujahideen, seen as one of the most significant failings of Operation Cyclone regarding U.S. foreign policy. Gust Avrakotos was stressed to point after the fall of the DRA. Congressman Wilson, under the suggestion, accepted to direct funds toward the rebuilding, however, was unsuccessful. Once the operation reached its goal, all funding was ceased, even humanitarian aid for the rebuilding of the country. So basically, yeah, the Soviets had a horrible meeting that would eventually lead to the collapse. However, there was nothing to be done to help Afghanistan, so it would splinter and then radicalize into the nightmare that we know it as. The 2007 film. The book was adapted into 2007 film Charlie Wilson's War, starring Tom Hanks as Representative Charlie Wilson. It also starred Julia Roberts and Philip Hoffman. The film was written by Aaron Sorkin and developed by Mike Nichols and grossed $109.5 million at the box office. Universal Pictures produced the movie with an estimated budget of $75 million, one-time total $102 million. The film received positive reviews and was nominated for 5 Golden Globe Awards, but did not win a single category. It was also nominated for an Academy Award, but did not win. The film was met with critical praise, although it was criticized for certain historical inaccuracies. A.O. Scott of New York Times praised the film for the ability to dance a line of exciting pictures without losing the importance of the story and character. This is according to him. That, at any rate, is pretty much the gist of Charlie Wilson's War, which is more of a hoot than a picture dealing with the bloody, protracted war between the Soviet Army and the Afghan Mujahideen has any right to be. The book was especially well received back to the book. The book was especially well received in the United States, and also supposed significant events in U.S. history. In time, it found critical acclaim, appearing on New York Times bestseller list while making it onto Washington Post and Los Angeles Times bestseller list. Public interest in events portrayed in the book led to the 2007 film adaptation of the same title. The film compressed times and merged characters' events, but kept all the fundamental information of the operation intact. The film's largely positive reception generated further interest in the event narrative. George Crile III's book exposed the undertakings of a highly covert operation that spanned decades. The codename Operation Cyclone became the most expensive covert operation operated by the U.S. government, carried by the CIA. The capital required for the armament of the Afghan Mujahideen totaled billions of dollars, and the funding dramatically increased towards the tail end of the conflict. This book demonstrated how the U.S. was able to fund the Islamic Jihad to defeat and help win the Soviet-Afghan War. It also showed how one-man Representative Charlie Wilson was able, who is known as Good Times Charlie because he is the master of doing all sorts of vice, was able to divert hundreds of millions a year to a covert operation without the knowledge of the wider government or the public. The author George Crile points to the urban warfare training that the CIA gave to the women. This includes explosive training, bomb construction with little equipment available, i.e., pipe bombs or other IEDs. Crile cites that training as a potential impact on modern-day terrorism within Afghanistan. Another factor for lasting influence that the author points to is the Stinger missiles, a revolutionary weapon for the ground-to-air offensive. The Stinger missiles were often given to freedom fighters near the end of the conflict to assist with the lack of any air defenses or offensive capabilities. The result of all the funds and the supports of decade leading to a victory within Afghanistan for the freedom fighters. The fall of the DRA saw a major civil war occur in the interim. The blowback of the Soviet Union's defeat was a state, causing many scholars to cite this defeat as another precursor to the fall of the Soviet Union. The book has significant political implications when it was released in 2003. For the first time, it provided the public with clarity regarding the U.S. government spending, concluded with $3 billion across a 30-year period given directly to the Afghan freedom fighters. The information was apparent in the post-9/11 political climate, as the book demonstrated a time when the United States government backed the Mujahideen. Crile also made a case that Islamic terrorism towards the United States soured after the end of the CIA-backed military aid towards jihad within Afghanistan, that didn't continue and transform into the long-term plan after Soviet defeat, leaving the country poor and ravaged by war and internal conflict, which eventually led to the rise of the Taliban into its highest rank. That's about